चलेगा.
Filme Kapadia.
I am Gujarati.
હું બી ગુજરાતી છું.
अरे वाह.
શું વાત છે? Wow, this is wonderful. I think it's so wonderful to have the absolutely wonderful Payal Kapadia with us today on Filme Shilmy. Such a massive achievements as well to you, Payal. I mean, this what I think this was at Cannes as well after 30 years, this triumph that we've had in India. I mean, such a huge milestone. So thank you so much for bringing this film, and how are you feeling with everything around it?
It's been an interesting journey, and I'm really happy with every new step that the film takes and where it goes. Because, when you're making a film, you're not thinking that you wanted to go to a festival or something. You just want more people to see it. So everything that has happened so far has led to that. So I'm happy.
Well, no, of course. I mean, of course, it's the first, I believe, the first film from India to compete in the main competition since 1994, and it's obviously won the Grand Prix, so it's amazing. Seriously, it's true good. Right. Now, I think one thing that I've always been fascinated by is when there's films about the working class, or sort of people trying to survive in a big city. I've always been fascinated. I mean, be it Satyajit Ray's Mahanagar, even if we look at films like Parinita, for example, Salam Bombay is another one. So when we've had exemplary works like these, Payal, what really inspired you to make this film, and particularly through the lens of Malayali nurses in Mumbai?
I've been somebody who's from Mumbai, but I didn't I've not grown up there. So my experience of the city is always coming back to it because I studied in different states and in India, and I would come back and I felt, I think when you leave a place and you keep coming back, you see the changes more evidently. And for me, one thing about the city was how quickly it's always changing. And also the people who are there are constantly being displaced even within the city. And this was one of the characteristics of Mumbai that I was interested to talk about as a city that I know but also don't know. I like but also hate, and all these contradictions of of all big city life, and especially Mumbai being something that is kind of, it is more liberating than a lot of places in India, like to come to feel anonymous, to sort of be independent, to be slightly compared to some other parts of the country more safe for women to come to work. So all these things are the positive, but it's also a really mm, I think brutal city at times, and like the constant um, gentrification that takes place, and it's just not an easy city to navigate all the time. So it was all these things that I wanted to talk about in the film, and I felt that the kind of setting of the hospital allowed me to have a lot of other preoccupations that I had about women's health, and things that I wanted to address to come out. And the
Mm.
film, when I started writing it, I was in two different medical situations in my family. So I was going from like one hospital situation to another. And I ended up spending a lot of time in hospitals and making friends with some young nurses at the time, and collected, like, just out of chatting, I was, documenting a lot of things. And I was very interested in their perspectives and stories about, like, which finally made it into the film, like the placenta and, all these things which I couldn't have cooked up because I really don't know enough. And it was through talking to them that I felt that this could be the way to approach the city, the complexity of work, and many other issues that I tried to talk about in the film.
Now, they say cinema is a universal language, and that is very true. But I think you being a mainly Hindi, Gujarati speaking a filmmaker, right? Or someone who speaks that language predominantly, right? How challenging does it become to really overcome that initial barrier of languages? Because I find it very fascinating how a filmmaker who might not necessarily know the language, or or who might know basic language, basic essence of it, how do you kind of get into that and extrapolate the emotions uh through that barrier?
Uh, Yeah, I don't know. I started thinking, like, when I started it, I was like, did I do the right thing? Am I going to be in trouble with this? Because it's really hard what you're saying. Like, it's we are so different in our languages, in our way of speaking, in our everything, is different. But fortunately, I met Robin Joy, who's the associate director on this film, and he's also a great writer and a director. And we started working together 2 years ago on the script. So once I had kind of written the script on the dialogues and things, we worked very closely and rewrote a lot of it to fit the cultural context, the dialects, like deciding also like within Kerala where what kind of accent they would have, the nurses or even Shias, the characters. So all these things were he worked on a lot with me, and we then approached the actors, um, telling them that they would also need to sort of find the nuances because they are Malayali. So, for them it was easier, obviously. So I had to rely a lot on a lot of people, which is for me a nice process because I love to work collaboratively.
Hmm. Right. મને તમારું color palette બહુ જ ગમ્યું ફિલ્મમાં. I think the color palette was beautiful. I loved the blues that were predominantly there in the first half to really give that visceral feel of hospitals that, even though there's supposed to be someone who eases another one's pain, but yet, however, they're going through their own ordeals. Then obviously when they go to the forest in the second half of the film, there's the greens, a lot more of the browns, and a lot more white as well, I found, which again symbolizes peace. So talk to me about your color palette. And there's one particular scene that I really love the camera movement on. I think it's when the nurse is walking on the streets and the camera's moving with her.
Hmm.
What inspired these camera techniques and what inspired the palette in particular?
So Mumbai in the rainy season is becomes this gray blue color, and it's so much rain. And but what is also there is that I noticed that there is like a blue tarpatli which is put on all the roofs and all the terraces and everything. So that blue, I felt that Mumbai and rain and that blue plastic was
Yeah.
kind of very well linked. And even if it is like the fancy building, some fancy glass building, there also in their balcony they would have covered it with blue. And if it's a smaller house, also that's also covered with this blue. And also somebody else pointed out to me, and I agree with it, is that um, when a building is going to be torn down, also in Mumbai, it its exterior gets covered with blue corrugated sheets, and
Mm,
again it becomes associated with like gentrification. So I think all these things made me very attracted to using this blue color, and it's a very particular blue. It's that very bright blue that matches this plasticky feeling. um,
sure.
and the second half is in Ratnagiri district, which is in the Konkan.
Mm,
And over there, the earth is red, like it's known for its laterite rock structures, and all the houses are also made with that laterite rock. So red is very important over there. And I wanted this like passage of time, so season to change. Now, if you live in the West Coast and especially in Mumbai, you will have like, that there are no seasons. It's
mm,
only monsoon, and then the rest of the time it's hot. So I thought this change of season was like something I wanted to do. And Ratnagiri also, what you're calling this white feeling, it's good. I'm that you notice that, because I wanted the feeling of the sun to almost bleach out the landscape sometimes, like it's just like um, it gives it a slightly dreamy feel, and that's the feeling I was going for in the second half.
sure. But having said that, the technical aspects were so beautiful. And I find it very fascinating sometimes how filmmakers sometimes art dekharvama, the pace sometimes also gets quite slow burning. Like I think the film definitely has a very slow burning pace.
Mm-hmm.
So intentional hatu? Was this intentional for you to make it a slow burning pace?
આ
And
મારી સૌથી ફાસ્ટ ફિલ્મ છે.
राइट मैंने हाँ तो आपने ई विषय आपने बात करी है थोड़ा का पेसिंग नहीं बिकॉज आई I've noticed this a lot about film festival films in particular there is this whole sense आर्ट दिखाने में बहुत ही स्लो पेस होती
अरे
है.
हम थोड़े धीरे ही है, क्या करेंगे?
Superb. No, but I think yeah. So what was it that sort of determines you with the way you pace out a certain film?
Um, for me, what I like about as an audience when I watch films, I like that the film allows me to wander and doesn't kind of take me from place A to place B, but it's like climbing a hill. You see different sights on the way, and
Hmm.
you look at the landscape, and you look at even a small leaf, and you look at a small flower, but you also see the view. So I like to think of cinema also to have this slightly meandering quality that doesn't take me in a car from the bottom of the mountain to the top, but allows me to wander.
Hmm.
And I feel that a pace of a film sometimes can allow for your own thoughts, your own memories, your own experiences to find some space. And these days we are so inundated with images and stories and media all the time. Sometimes it's good also to be slow.
हाँ नहीं वो बात तो definitely है no it's a very beautiful explanation but I think Payal Ben if I'm very honest like I feel like sometimes एक film बनावा for example especially film festival माटे या for global audiences it's good to know that this film is not a Slumdog Millionaire. I was very relieved that it was not made from the Western gaze or from a certain perspective of, Are dekho India, it's a third world country. It completely looks about lives which exist, which is very much relatable, I think, to anyone. So I think for you, why do you think there's been this phase of filmmaking for a while where it's kind of made for Western validation, where it's almost anti-government, anti-spiritual for the sake of it going places. And do you think that's changing now with the authentic voices that are rising in cinema, in Indian cinema in particular?
I think historically speaking, we've had a lot of diversity in cinema. It's just now that they want to show these films, but like Ghatak, Ray, we've had so many filmmakers in the past. Sai Paranipe, wonderful Indian filmmakers. Uh, I think now because the world is opening up more to diversity and different films that we are saying, okay, there is Indian cinema happens to be there, but it's always been there. Love the three city films of Ray, like Mahanagar is one of them. I just love this movie. It's it's such a fantastic film, and every time I watch it, I gain something from it. So there's this very epic line from it. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, and all the Bengalis will be angry with me. But it is then I think we've all become cowards in the attempt to earn our daily bread. And I this line I really liked it, and I think I'm saying it not absolutely right, but it's somewhere in that line. And there is also Pratidwandi, which is a fantastic film, also set in Kolkata. It's about young people trying to find work. And Shima Bandhu is another city. Like this was like the three films he had based in Kolkata, which even like he was trying a lot of things stylistically in how he was directing the scenes or putting them together. And I really find I got a lot from this period of Ray.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's really remarkable to see because I mean I hate adding gender spins to it, but I think it merits. I think the conversation merits is that we're so wonderful. We're seeing women filmmakers really taking the being the torch bearers now and actually bringing voices of women to the forefront. I mean, the fact that Lapata Ladies is the official entry to the Oscars, I mean, such an amazing film. I think Kiran's done such a brilliant job in that. You've done amazingly. We've had Girls Will Be Girls as well, which again, Shruti's done a fabulous job. I mean, it's a very, very interesting time because obviously with stuff happening in India as well, which are very, very regressive and awful as well with the crimes that have happened. But at the same time, we're seeing this also progression happening in the film industry. How do you feel about all of this together? I mean, does it leave you in a bit of a bittersweet emotion as well when you notice all of these things happening.
I mean, yeah, of course, we are a country where we feel like we took two steps forward and then it goes back again, and then again two steps forward, and this is very frustrating. And but it's also like, what else do we do? So we have to kind of find ways and process what's happening and um, keep trying to move those two steps ahead.
Sure, no, absolutely. And I think again, when it comes to the stories that you bring, I think I often talk to actors and speak to them about how observation is such an important point of acting.
Mm.
But I think in filmmaking, observation is also a very important point as well. So for you, what is the one thing that you observe that really inspires your stories in particular in the world that we live in?
Like generally, or um,
Generally.
like what do I take a lot from real life, from everyday experiences. I think that sometimes there you don't have to look too far to find something interesting, and everyday life is so interesting for me. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think when you work in a creative field, it the privilege is that everything is interesting. It becomes more and more your curiosity and your ability to find something of delight in everyday life is I don't know, I find that really fulfilling.
Mm. And I think the fact that, it's gone through so many milestones, this film already. I mean, the fact that it's already officially releasing soon as well, it just feels so surreal. I feel like it's just gone through such a journey. It just doesn't feel like it's the official release yet. It's just insane. But I think, how do you hope people in India will also feel about the movie as well, especially the आम जनता, because obviously उनका भी perspective भी होता है इन सब फिल्मों को लेके. So how do you feel about the reactions and how it would fare in India as well, especially in the heartlands of India?
You see, firstly, this film is in Malayalam, so not many people will want. I mean, it's complicated in India to have subtitled films. So already my audience is limited to those who will either read the subtitles or understand Malayalam. And I feel in Kerala there is quite a lot of openness to different kinds of films. It
True.
is one state that is truly a cinephile state, and
That's so true. That's actually really true.
and they have already, like, they have art house films also. They have, different filmmakers who are able to release films, um making such a range of cinema that they have so many festivals as well. So we had a kind of a pre-release in Kerala this last month, and a lot of people came out to see the film. So I'm curious also to see, like, if it has a wider scope, or more larger acceptance in the state of Kerala. Let's
Hmm. And
One can only hope that more people see it. What else can you ask for?
yeah, I know I know. I mean, ultimately it comes down to that, right? But no, but it's interesting because I think Jevi Rite Tamil Banai Vi film. It felt like I was watching like a very indie American or a European film. Like I think the way you've made it, it's very unique in the way you've presented the story. ये इंडिया है, ये मुंबई है. हमने देखा हुआ है kinda, yes, yeah, because I've been to Mumbai quite a lot. So I feel it's familiar but yet new. And I think that was very distinct. Talking of distinct as well, I did an interview with Hansal Mehta sir, and I think what I've loved about him is the way he's really represented our Gujarati stories,
Hmm.
in a very more realistic, gritty manner, which I think is very important as well.
Of course.
I think going forward for you as well, Payal, I mean, તમને interest છે Gujarati stories champion કરવામાં on a
હા,
more,
ઓફકોર્સ.
huh?
પણ હું ફિલ્મ ગુજરાતીમાં બનાવું તો પણ મુંબઈમાં બનાવીશ.
Why not? Yeah, why not? There's so many
હા,
Gujarati speaking people in
of
Mumbai who are
course.
actually not Gujaratis also, which is what I find surprising. So what's next? So then after All We Imagine Is Light for you.
I'm going to make two more films in Mumbai, and hopefully with more Gujarati in it.
Oh, amazing. Well, that is so wonderful. And I love the fact that you also had the Gujarati sort of a Gujarati, like there was someone sharing their perspective about living.
The first line is in Gujarati.
That was really awesome, and I absolutely loved that. But no, I think Payal, it's been so wonderful to have you on Filmy Shilmy. I think you've definitely made us very proud,
Thank you.
and I think All We Imagine is Light is definitely something which will continue to light up. I think in days to come, and it's a wonderful achievement for India. And congratulations, and I can't wait to see more work from you.
Thank you. It was really nice speaking with you as well.
Nice speaking to you too. All right, Payal, thank you.
Bye.